What is going on, guys? It is your boy Cash, and we are here today with the update on Epic 7. There's going to be a lot to cover. As you can see on the upper hand here, we got the summon stuff, and woo! This one's going to be a little spicy. So first things first is that Seaside Bellona is coming out, of course. We already know about that. We also know, well, some of you guys knew about the artifact. I kind of forgot to even mention our artifact. Artifact's actually pretty cool. It's pretty much like a Uberous Tooth, but it's going to be for a ranger and only specifically when they attack all enemies, which is really cool for like the cleave, you know, kind of thing, which is kind of cool. So when attacking all enemies, has a 50% chance to inflict additional damage. Additional damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's attack. If you're looking at it from her perspective, you know, she has this, the S2, her S2 passive is the AoE attack, and so is her S3. And if you use regular Bellona, her S2 and S3 are AoE attack. So let's first go off of what they're saying here. If you guys don't know the limited banners, they all work the same. They're gonna be that after you do 120 summons, the 121st one will get you the character as long as you don't get the character within those summons, and it will reset if you do get the character before 120. That's what we call the 121 club, which is probably going to be most of us, but it might be different. Now there's a really big difference now when it comes down to these characters. These banners are all going to be different, so that's why I kind of didn't want to waste too much time on this, and I want to go over to what the next thing, which is the summon system improvements notice. Now they're actually talking about here, I kind of read through all of this, is that pretty much, as you guys know, if you've been keeping up with everything, the Moonlight characters are now going to be added into the Covenant summons, and that's where they're going to go. So the Moonlight heroes, to my knowledge, based off reading this, is that they're only coming to the Covenant summon. That's only where they're coming. So when you summon on a banner, to my knowledge, you will not have a chance to get a Moonlight hero. So here are the actual rates for that. So now you can see, like, now there is a 0.15 chance of getting a 5 Moonlight hero, 0.5 for a Moonlight 4, and then 4.35 to get a Moonlight 3. And then these are the other ones. So you're still more likely to get standard characters or standard element characters, but now the Moonlight heroes are in the mix. So they're still pretty hard to get. There's just, now it's a little bit more random to throw in there. As you say here, it's a 5% chance, I guess, if you add all this up, it's 5% chance now to receive a Moonlight hero. They also reduce the artifacts overall, so you're less likely to get artifacts, which for some people might be a little bit of a bummer, because not all heroes that you get are good, but artifacts help you improve your artifacts and then give you the dust, so you can then, you know, get the artifact that you want, or double up, you know, get the dupe artifact that you want. So I guess people, I feel like most people don't care about that. That's more of a concern, like, for me, because sometimes when I summon, if I'm going to get dupes of anything, I'd rather get dupes of artifacts. I'd rather get artifacts because I need that, and I can make as much fodder as I can. So I don't really need fodder when I'm summoning. I need artifact fodder when I'm summoning. But that's just me. In order to make improvements, we plan to introduce limited summons for Mystic summons. If a player does not receive a 5-star Moonlight hero within 200 summons, then the 201st summon that will guarantee a Moonlight hero. I first thought that this was going to be in the Covenant summons, but this is only in the Mystic summons, actually, because I actually thought it was in the Covenant summons. But so far, that means that when you're doing, so Covenant summons are pretty much kind of almost irrelevant in this new one. I mean, they were not so much irrelevant before, but, and then they say they're going to be changing, you know, this is them adding in the Moonlight characters into the regular summon, which is the Covenant summons. But I thought that this was also talking about the Covenant summons, but no, this is actually only for the Mystic summons. So Mystic medals, they also are going to be putting the Mystic medals in the secret shop. So Mystic medals are also going to be in the secret shop. Now you can buy 50 Mystics, same thing when you can buy like a bunch of bookmarks and then get a free summon. But now it's going to be more imperative for you to pretty much get the Mystic summon, the Mystic medals, so you can do a Mystic summon, do as many as possible, and then get all the way up to 200, so that your 201st summon is going to be a Moonlight 5. This is going to be obviously much easier for other people, for some people than others. So if you're thinking about 120 summons on a limited banner, people usually can save up to do that. It doesn't take people, you know, necessarily long to do that. Now Mystic medals, as you guys know, are part of like guild, and that's kind of the only way you can get them outside of, you know, random hunt drop or something of that nature. It's gonna be, this is beneficial to people that are kind of up in the up. They're gonna be getting this way more often than someone else would. which is kind of obvious. There also doesn't say anything about the packs, I think, in this whole thing. So they haven't said anything about the packs, so there's nothing to say that they're going to be removing the packs, which is kind of the issue in the first place, which is kind of weird because that was the whole issue, is that these characters were on the Moonlight banner, which is the Mystic banner, as I can consider it, the Mystic banner. Let's say Ravi comes out, right? She's on the Mystic banner. You see her and another 4-star Moonlight character is there, and you would summon like a madman, and then you would not get the character. People would be pissed, yada yada yada. And then sometimes people would wail and get the character, yada yada yada. But now they're going to be guaranteeing. So what this is actually going to do is that you're going to pretty much see people still probably buy those packs unless they regulate that in some way, shape, or form, and they're just going to have those characters guaranteed. So if Moonlight Araminta or Sage, ML Bao, I know they're getting nerfed. That's the next tab here. But everyone would have them. There were some people that probably wailed for them before and didn't get them. But now everyone's going to have those characters that feel like spending the money, that feel like getting up to that 201st summon. So I don't really understand how this is a change for the better. This is a change for the better, if I'm being honest, for people like me that would summon on there and pretty much would never get anything just because out of the luck of the draw. Even my martial artist Ken came from a Galaxy bookmark. It did not come from, obviously, because he was never on the Mystic Summon. So I got my first Nat 5 Moonlight character just from a Galaxy bookmark and not from this banner. And I summon on this banner a decent amount because when your guild gets up there, you get almost a summon per every 2 days, every other day pretty much. And then obviously Saturday's whatever day because there's no war, but you know what I mean. So pretty much you get a couple every day, and then this starts to add up. And if you're higher in the guild, ranks, you get more of these every time you win. So you're gonna get a lot more, and then you're gonna be pretty much getting to this quicker. Now it obviously does reset, but the guaranteed summon counter will not reset if the hero list is changed. So if you're taking too long, at least there's no pressure that if you want Ravi, and if she goes away, boohoo, next time you summon will be the next character. So you can, which pretty much this means you could pretty much stack it up. You don't have to save your summons for any reason. You can at least stack it up, and then when you really see that character that you want, your 200's coming up, then boom, drop it and then get that character that you really want, that really broken character, then you can do that, So that's pretty okay. I don't really mind this, but it doesn't change the issue, in my opinion. The issue of people buying packs to get these characters, because they were getting them with the crappy rates. Now they're guaranteed the Moonlight 5. So I'm really curious to how you guys feel about that. I'm definitely torn on that, because you guys know I hate the packs in the game. I don't understand what this really helped. The only good thing for us is that the limited banners, like every character is now a limited banner, so that's good for everyone. But now the Moonlight heroes, it depends on how the Moonlight heroes come out in the future. Like, are they going to be broken? Are they going to be busted? Everyone's going to have them now. All they have to do is spend money. So that didn't change. Next up, we're going to be going with the hero balancing future system improvements. First one up to the chopping block is going to be ML Araminta. So we're going to look at the after, because we already know what she does. Activates flame release if the enemy is burned after using flame friction. Flame release attacks all enemies with the mystic fire energy, increasing the combat readiness by 20%. So they're taking this down 10%. Pretty much, that's the only difference that I can see here. So you're getting a little bit less combat readiness when you trigger the S2. And it seems like the only change that they're doing here is the turns. They kept the S3 the same. They didn't want to nerf the hell out of her, but they just changed the turns. So now it's 5 turns instead of 4 turns. So they lowered her combat readiness so she can't cycle as much, and even though when she's cycling the turns, it's going to take her a little bit longer, especially if she's using Epica's Scepter. So just making her a little bit less viable, because she won't be able to do her job as often, which was kind of the annoying part, or when she got going, which is kind of okay. This is pretty much a nice safe ban, I think. Not ban, sorry, a safe nerf. You didn't nerf her to the ground, but made her still viable. Didn't change her stun ratio, which is, in my opinion, what made her good. But you can still get the stun off. The burns no one cares about. It was just the ability for her to keep cycling turns over and over and over again. So this was an actual really good nerf. You can still use her as I think she was intended to be used, as a character to go first, stun every enemy, and then slowly cycle her turns, but not just like speed motorboat her turns all day. So this was pretty good. Next up, Sage, Bao, and Sezen. So it seems that what they're going to be nerfing is, it looks like the S2, which was obviously the biggest issue. So let's see what they changed. So they changed the only thing that they changed was they lowered the combat readiness that he gets for free. Everything else is the same, I think, and they also increased it by 1 turn, so it's longer to cycle. So the only issue that I have with this, I think that, oh, they did change that. So he only takes 1 buff away now. That's pretty good. It's still a high chance to sleep, 80% chance. So now at least if you're littered with buffs, he's not going to take all your buffs away. I think that was the issue. I didn't even know he did 2. It seemed like he took all your buffs away. So now he's only taking 1 buff away from you, which is still 100% pretty much chance to happen. And then 65% chance, oh, and going up to 80, put them to sleep. The sleep is still annoying, to be honest with you. It's still a little bit annoying. I would hope that they knock that down if they were going to nerf it at all. But only 1 buff, that means that, you know, they can strip your, you know, let's say if Angelica buffs, they might strip your barrier and then your immunity is still there and then blocks the sleep. So, you know, that's pretty good. Obviously, if you just have immunity, like the immunity set, you're screwed. So that's one thing. And they did nerf the combat readiness. Again, keeping his viability of what his job is, but not actually overall nerfing the character to the ground. Next up, we have Arbiter Vildred. Only thing that they changed here was that they took the attack buff away from him. So he pretty much will still come back with virtually max health, because we're talking about a, you know, invested one, right? Those are the ones that we're complaining about. We're not complaining about the out of the box ML character. We're complaining about the max level ML character. So he's gonna get the combat readiness. He's gonna get his health back. He's coming with full focus. He's gonna reset the cooldown of his S3. But the only thing is that he's not going to get that free attack buff. And the attack buff was a little bit much, because it definitely it like allowed him to just have a free buff. Pretty much a lot of things are going to die to that. And the only way you counter that would be either to anti-revive him, or if you had a move like Bikins, who you get a free turn pretty much when you kill him, and then you kill him the second time afterwards, which is, you know, a little bit too much setup. So they at least gave it that you have to have your runes in your gear to guide you to that full crazy damage, and it's not going to be giving you a free, what is this, 50%? I think 50, it's either 40 or 50% attack boost on top of whatever you have. It made him too easy, honestly. So I think that's why they nerfed him down. But still, they did not nerf the character to the ground. So everything so far, I do approve of these nerfs. And last but not least, Crimson Armin. Let's see what they did. They nerfed 2 of her things, actually. The security state, a lot of people were definitely upset about this. So it looks like instead of it going from 20% to 30% reduction, it's going to be 10% to 15%. We'll have to see exactly how that is. That's something that needs to be in the game, because obviously it's not just this. It's also this with Aureus, and we all know that Aureus is not getting nerfed. So we're going to see how much this 15% plus the Aureus, obviously it's going to be more damage is going to go through. I'm not a mathematician to tell you how much damage is going to go through, but it's going to be interesting to see how, you know, how viable Armin is going to be at this point. And then they also seem to nerf her S3 and just knocking down the immunity 1 turn, which is, I guess that's okay. I wouldn't be too mad about that. 3 turns of immunity is a little rough as far as for counterplay against it. You really have to wait a long time to be able to debuff the enemy. They knocked it down 1 turn. The invincibility is still 1 turn as well. Pretty much a good, again, they did pretty good job with these nerfs. These characters aren't virtually useless, though since they're getting nerfed, people will just say that they're useless. But I think that this one, I feel like all of them are okay. They could have went harder. They could have really made these characters useless if they really wanted to, by just like removing her passive and turning it into something else. They could have removed the invincibility or the immunity. They could have changed this to a barrier instead of invincibility, or they could have changed this to 1 turn whatever that buff that Maid Chloe has, the, you know, immortality buff, 1 turn of that instead, which is not as good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you might revive, but you'll revive with like crappy HP or something like that, you know. I mean, some people might think that is a buff, but they could have really changed this character. They could have changed the stun. They could have put a stun chance on this instead of it being automatic. You know, they could have done a lot of worse, you know. So I think these changes are okay, but I do think that people are just gonna say, screw this, I don't want to use this character anymore. And like I said, recalling these characters is not that bad of an idea, because you recall them, you get all your resources back, and you can pretty much invest into the characters that were not nerfed. So I have a full star Armin, and I never even got to use her because of my lack of playing. So now I'm thinking maybe I'll just recall her, get some of those resources back, and then put it into another character. Why not? Oh yeah, I forgot. The recall for the Moonlight heroes is that you exchange them for a new hero of the same level. So I can only exchange my Crimson Armin for another 4-star Moonlight character, and same thing with these other 5 stars. You guys can only exchange them for a 5-star. So you can't even go to a 5-star to a 4 if you wanted to. Not that I think most people would, but even the memory imprinting You can't go, because this would have been crazy if you could if you had a memory imprinted of a 4-star character like Armin, and then you wanted to put the unknown slates and then put it onto another character. You can't do that. So they're gonna give you guys a new item, a new resource, whatever material that's gonna be specific for 4-star characters. So you cannot go and use it on another, you know, 5-star if you recall a 4-star. And we're only gonna have 2 weeks to do that, starting on September 5th and then ending on September 18th. And they're even trying to be super nice. Additionally, when restoring Moonlight heroes, if you wish to receive the hero instead of an unknown slate, please send us a request to customer service without using the unknown slate. Upon submitting the application, we will review the player logs and send the hero instead of the unknown slate. Heroes achieved in this way cannot be exchanged. So they're letting you know you can even, you know, have a little bit more flexibility with what's going on. Here, they're actually just kind of discussing what they're gonna do with these. I kind of feel like skipping over these because when you read them, they don't really say it. They don't like specifically show you what the buff is. It's like I'm just gonna use Bazaar as an example. Bazaar was designed to be useful when used against a party with many buffs. Since Bazaar's skill Sandstorm dispels enemy buffs and makes them unable to buff. However, the skill Sand Wind, which transfers debuffs from the casters to the enemy, and the skill Hurricane, which decreased the hit chance of the opponent, were difficult to utilize for containment purposes. Therefore, by reinforcing containment factors of Hurricane and Sandwind, Bazaar's ability to contain the opponent will be improved. So they're just telling you that they're going to improve the S1 and the S2, but they don't really tell you what they're specifically doing with it. As you guys know, when they change these characters, a move can turn into a passive, and you know, something can get another additional effect. We have no idea. So at least we are knowing that they're going to do that to that. Looks like they're going to be changing Euphene's S2. Lilibet's Soul Cutter looks like it's going to get an improvement. I actually wonder, because so many of us made videos on how to improve Lilibet, I wonder who actually turns out right. But because of her ability is to focus on the extension effect, it was difficult to use her in other situations. Lilibet's overall ability will be buffed so that she can be beneficial in various... She doesn't need that. She doesn't need that. She actually just needed to do her job actually better. They said she's too focused on extinction, but she wasn't even good at extinction. She was able to do it with like the craziest of gear. But when you make a character like let's lose Bazaar as an example. Bazaar is a, you know, crazy debuffer, but he's able to do his job. Not that he wasn't able to do his job, it's just that, you know, I feel like he was an underutilized character. People didn't like use him that often. They didn't, not that I don't even feel it was the case of, it's kind of like Ludwig. Ludwig's not bad, but you don't see him that often because I feel like people don't have him summoned. But Lilibet, people would summon for it, and she couldn't really extinct that much. She needed different ways. Her kit just needed to be kind of jumbled around a little bit so she can do her job better. So that was one thing. Like this one, Lidica is highly effective when attacking a single enemy or in golem hunts, but her overall ability is greatly focused on individual containment. That's fine. That's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know why they would change that. That was her best thing. Like if you change her S2 to also like lower combat readiness or something like that, it's gonna be strange. Like, why does she need to also do it on an AoE basis? You can make another character for that. There's nothing wrong with having characters that are specifically designed to do one thing, and they just have to do it really well, and then you have that character in that slot for that purpose, and then you don't want a character doing 16 different things. That's why people are mad at Angelica, and she's never been nerfed, because she can do so much. You never need to nerf her, because so many people rely on her to do so much as well. But when you want characters to be character specialists, you have to make sure that they can do their job. And Lidica does her job. You know, if anything, give her more guarantees on her kit. I think that would make her a lot better, so you take the chance out of some of the stuff she's doing. But if she starts AoE decreasing combat readiness at ease, she might be too strong. But, you know, whatever, we'll see that. And then here we have Assassin Coley, which she keeps going in and out of nerfs. And it's crazy because, again, I don't think she needs anything. But hey, let's see what they say. Assassin Coley is strategically useful since she has high speed and her passive Cloak and Dagger has a chance to increase attack, while her skill Murder has containment effects. I never heard them return to containment. We just call it like CC, you know, or debuff, or, you know, whatever. However, because there isn't any additional effects following the skill Ambush, she wasn't as beneficial after her first turn. By improving her basic skills, she will be useful even after using the skill Murder. They want that after you S3, you're able to do a little bit more, because pretty much she S3s, she just kind of S1s, and I think she'll just keep going in stealth. But that's her whole stick. You can't really hurt her. She's going to keep doing that. I don't know. I feel like Assassin Coley is fine, but I feel like they're going to overtune her, because I think this is like the third buff that she's going to be receiving. It's kind of crazy. And here's a quick notice that they're saying that they're delaying the actual Arena Season 3. So the balancing will happen on September 5th. The Arena Season 3 balance adjustments will be September 5th. And the actual start of Season 3 will be September 9th. So the whole next month of August is going to just be, I guess, the filler arc, with them just making a bunch of balance changes and hoping that by September that everything will be pretty much good. The skill bug fixes here, they're pretty much saying that they're going to be rewording a bunch of stuff to make sure that it's more clear. I've said this more specifically, not really for the heroes, because the heroes you can pretty much test stuff out. The community can test things out, and you can kind of get around with it. It's not that bad if you have a hero and the skill doesn't work as intended, unless you feel like you spent too much money to get the hero, then that's fine. But it kind of sucks if you're going against a monster or a boss and you're wasting so much time trying to do something and you don't actually know that the boss is immune to something, or the boss isn't taking this or something like that, or because sometimes they'll have the boss do something and it's actually not even in the skill description at all. So this is obviously them just going to be working on that. They probably have to go through every little inch of the game and make sure anything is going through. I think this is something that the community can help them with. Even though it is their fault, but if the community can send them, hey, this is wrong. I do this in Knights Chronicles all the time. If there's a issue or a mistranslation, because obviously these guys are not global, so if there's a mistranslation and they try to translate something into global server and it's not written correctly whatsoever, or hell, maybe it was just not included or not worded correctly even when it was in Korean, there's a way that we can at least help them with that. So this is another way we can help them to make sure that we don't get frustrated by trying to beat something and the odds or the skill or anything of that nature was not correctly displayed to us, and that's why we're not passing something. So this is nice. Battle system improvement seems like they're going to be explaining some of the multipliers in the game. I definitely think that it sucks that you have to go into like a Google sheet and to find out how things scale. A lot of games have it, like let's say if you see the base damage of the skill and then you see a certain color. So let's use attack for example. You use attack, so it's red, right? So attack. So you see that it's scaling off attack because the parentheses next to it is attack. It's red. It means it's scaling off attack, and you see how much it is on the character. So you can easily make a correlation like this is going to do this much damage, and it's going to go against their defense. Whatever. Obviously, you should know your attack is going against their defense. Whatever. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. What I like about this is that if they were to do that, then you would easily be able to see if a skill is going to be scaling strongly off whatever. Is it scaling off HP higher than another person scaling off HP? Things of that nature. I hope that they put that in the game, because that would make it a little bit easier to see if a skill is going to be doing a lot of damage. Like Zeno has the same like typing as other characters that scale off HP, like Ken and even Apocalypse Ravi. They all have the same typing, like, oh, this thing scales off their HP, but you don't know who actually scale. Oh yeah, and CC. Both CCs actually. You don't know who actually scales off HP harder. You don't know who actually is there to be a more of a DPS unit in comparison to a character that might scale off HP, but it's kind of there more, not to do damage. Like you would know that if you see the skill multipliers in game instead of having to go somewhere else to get that. And I feel like games need to always be mindful that you should never have to go on a separate website or go through something else which could be littered with viruses or anything of that nature. Luckily I haven't run into that issue, but it should be in the game. You should never have to go outside of the game for information. And the game also seems to, and this is the balance quality improvements. I've actually made a response. I commented on K Gaming's video, is that a lot of this stuff seems to be very, very PvP focused. And I always say that PvP is for the whales. PvP is for the people that spend money in these games. It is not, and it will never be for free-to-play players or people that spend casually just to kind of like play the game a little bit more because they ran out of resources. Focusing too much on making PvP is the only reason you benefit from that, in my opinion, is if you're going to be doing like tournaments, esports kind of stuff like that. Summoners War like just started doing that maybe like 3 years ago in comparison, thanks to Tachi, I've seen that even Brown Dust has tournaments, but like when they're doing so much stuff just to make the PvP relevant, and it's going to be hard when it's just a fest, it's a fiesta, when it's just going to be people with the highest. And as we just discussed in this thing, the Moonlight characters coming on, and people are just it's going to be a Moonlight fiesta. So, I don't know. I hope that they still focus on quality of life, which they are. You can see half the stuff that I read is definitely dealing with that as well. I just hope they don't focus purely on this. I haven't seen, all this stuff has been about PvP changing these characters, but I haven't seen anything so far about new content coming to the game. RTA is not even in here, and that's again PvP. You know, there should be a world boss. There should be, you know, even if there's a different hunt that does something else for different rune sets or something, gear sets, dear God, I hate that they call them gear in this game. Something, you know, like, but everything is right now about balancing the characters. Balance character. People don't like how strong these characters are, but that's, again, mostly in PvP. If this game was a PvE only game, like Dragalia Lost, half the issues, like, those issues wouldn't even be around. You would have to put in content, but they know that Arena, people like Arena. I'm not going to pretend like they don't, you know, they like PvP, but, you know, don't forget about the PvE aspect of the game. A lot of us enjoy that too. And this memory imprinting. To make memory imprint a unique power of the hero, we will make changes so that the players can either choose to keep the devotion skill applied on team members or choose to have this effect applied to the hero directly. I think they should just change it to it affects all squares and it affects everyone. I don't think you should be able to, like, choosing this. It's just what? I don't understand. Like, the memory imprinting to me is garbage. But I know at the higher level it makes sense, because at that level people have multiple dupes. They summon a lot more than I do. They summon a lot more than other people do. They have a lot of dupes. So memory imprinting is pretty much going to be up in the S, in the, you know, double S, triple S territory. So everyone's getting a lot more HP, a lot more defense, effective resistance, and of course the most important is a lot speed when you have like Vildred in them in there. So like, if you wanted to, like, it's a nice change, but it's still, to me, it should always be everyone, especially because memory imprinting, you're imprinting the memory, and for some reason the character is remembering stuff and it only affects the characters around them, not the character themselves. It should always be both. It just doesn't make sense. And they're gonna nerf it if you're using it on the individual character. What? What's the point? The ultimate goal of Epic 7's balance is to allow our heirs to enjoy playing Epic 7 in a more enjoyable environment while maintaining the basic value of the game. We hope that our heirs will continue to show interest in Epic 7 and give us a lot of feedback on battle balance improvements. Okay. In addition, we promise to improve the game environment through periodic balance adjustments, and we will do our best to ensure that players can experience enjoyable battles with various heroes. They're just very focused on PvP, and to be fair, that's where most of the complaints currently are, and I just lied, because most of the complaints are not in that. I think that they're still a vocal majority of complaints of like hunt, crafting, and other aspects of making it, like the fact that you can't auto in this game is ridiculous. That is honestly the only reason why I've been playing Elune as much as I have, and the reason why I still play Knights Chronicles, because you can just leave stuff on auto, do other things, or, you know, it doesn't require too much of your attention. But Epic 7, you really have to babysit the game a little bit too much, in my opinion. And for a game that's, you know, wanting to make the game more enjoyable to play, I would just prefer if the game was a little bit more automated and a little bit more smooth as far as that goes. And then the balance of the heroes, I mean, good luck. You're always going to have someone happy, you're always going to have someone pissed, no matter what you do. It's always going to be a juggling act, and no one's going to always be satisfied unless you work on making the characters actually balance forever and not just balancing them for the month period, and then all of a sudden you're going to change the characters again. Like, the fact that they keep changing Assassin Coley is the same issue. Like, they don't like where she's at, and they're just going to keep changing her, and then she's going to get overtuned, and then they're going to nerf her, and then they're, you know, it's going to just go back and forth. I'm happy with a decent amount of the changes. Everyone is just talking to them about PvP, and it's going to just turn a person like me away from the game, because I don't care about PvP. I never care about PvP in these games. I like dungeons and stuff, and their dungeons are not that interesting. Their Arma Tower, their tower, as everyone knows, was not that great. It wasn't a great experience. The raid wasn't that great of an experience. It was cool maybe for the first time, but now going and walking around to each one of those bosses and all this other stuff, it's just annoying. You rather just fight the boss and get it over with. It's just too time consuming. This game is time consuming for no reason. And that's when you get annoyed about the skill 3 animations being so long. And, you know, and they're really not that long, to be honest with you. But that's when you start getting upset about it, because it's just, you see like so much time. The side story, holy God. If you guys want to check out I'm going to put a little card here so you guys can see. I did So You Can Skip. That took hours, and it's a 10-minute video of relevant information, and that took hours of me recording just to get to the point where I was getting the relevant information of what happened. And it just takes so much. You're fighting this, fighting that, fighting that. They need to make things a lot more smoother in the game to make it more enjoyable to play, and just a lot quicker, so you can hurry up and get to what you do. Alune right now is doing that phenomenally. They're doing a really good job of like, this is what you need to do. Here it is. Boom, bap, boom. You're done. Go farm. And that's what we need to have here. It's like you spend hours in this game and you still don't have time to go do hunt. But anyway, that's a long video. I don't know. I'm at 45 minutes so far recording. Hopefully we can dwindle that down to 20 something, I hope. Please, por favor, my editing skills. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And remember, every day at the Kashino is your lucky day. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
victory. I'm scared. Listen to my song. Listen to me.
Who will face me? I'm already prepared. Give up any hope of making it back alive. Would it be fine if I just got...
Run before it's too late. I'm getting tired of you. Bye-bye now. I'll show you what I've got.